What's the most annoying thing about having a vagina? When you're on your period in the morning and you wake up to you either 1. Bleeding a lot and fast, or 2. It has all rolled out the side of your pad and underwear. You are covered in blood and now need to change the sheets, your clothes, and you might as well shower too. Or you get lucky when it's pulled inside, so you go for the morning pee and it all comes out in one rush. I prefer that much more than it leaking out everywhere during the night. Doesn't happen every time, but I just want my sheets and mattress to stay fairly clean. Periods. I wish there was a switch that we could turn periods on when we want to have a baby and turn them off when we don't, with absolutely no side effects. Periods are just my uterus throwing a tantrum for not being given a baby. I read that somewhere and I thought it seemed valid. When you're just standing minding your business and you feel that warm gush of thick liquid come out, you aren't sure if it's your period or a bunch of discharge. Either way, your underwear is fricked and you need to go to the bathroom to check right away. I hate when it's discharge, but it just feels like when you're on your period. So you do that rush to check, but instead it's just gross and damp. I usually just say screw it and change my underwear anyway. When I'm leaning back and fart but it creeps forward up into my vagina and then I have to do an awkward bend to refart my fart. Wife's answer word for word. The old puta to cooter scooter. How has no one said the fact that a doctor has to cram clamps in and crank them wide open to examine your regular physical health? It's a dumb organ. Click, click, click. I hate that sound. How temperamental is because of its sensitivity. Have hair, itches, shave, itches more, errant hair that's no longer attached, stabby, get too sweaty, OMG the itching, get too dry, sandpaper, clit comes out from under the hood and gets irritated on hair or panties, getting a lip stuck in lace panties, having your pad lift up and stick to the most inconvenient place. Oh dear god, the inside of the pads on the lips hurts like a bee. Colon warning, this is freaking gross. When I get my period I also get diarrhea, but since I don't want to get anything on the tampon I usually remove it to poop. Then I have to put in another when I'm done. But if I have diarrhea I might have to repeat this a few times within a few hours. The cotton from the tampon is sometimes not lubricated yet. The friction of pulling a dry tampon out a few times makes my vaginal canal feel dry and irritated. Also, it's a huge waste of tampons. What I do to avoid this problem is just tucking the string forward. You don't need to leave it dangling or pushed back. You can lay it forwards next to your clitoris and never worry about poop again without having to abrade your vagina. When you think you're on your period, but it's just discharge, especially when I am out and I feel it and I get so anxious until I can find a bathroom to check. It's worse when it's summer or live somewhere hot and the sweat confuses things. That tiny wet patch when you get up off a plastic or leather chair. Way more noticeable if it's a dark surface. You know you haven't peed, leaked or anything else wet, but all the internally generated warmth just compressed between your vagina and butt means it'll be there and it'll hang around just long enough for others to wonder why you're hovering over your chair. That happens to guys too. At least to me. I'm super self-conscious of it because to me it happens all the time and it's very noticeable. What I usually do is try to wipe it with my pants in the same motion as I stand up. Did I start my period randomly? Nah, wet just because. Being wet also doesn't always mean frisky, just depends on your hormone levels throughout the month. I don't really mind periods, mine are shorter and shorter the older I get, but the mood swings the week before them. Dang, I hate those 5 pre-period days. Me, I feel like I want to die. Why am I so depraved? Checks period tracker. Yep. The brown discharge before and after the period. You think you're on your period so you put on a pad but you're not on it yet. So the pad gets wasted on that bit of discharge. It also is uncomfortable. It doesn't hurt per day but it's a weird feeling when the discharge comes out. Yup, and when you think you're all done and no longer closed for maintenance, have sex. And there's more. Just happened to me. Freaking infuriating. The random stabbing pain in your bum when you have your period. Either when hair grows back and that crap hurts for a solid day or when your underwear gets sucked up and dang near cemented up in there with discharge. Having to maintain the oh so delicate pH balance, otherwise boom thrush, boom BV, want a hot bath, or to work out, or have sex, fine, but be prepared for the boom. As a guy I have no idea what this means. Okay, it might be me, but it takes me so long to CM. Seriously, it seems if you have a penis it only takes maybe 5-10 minutes tops, but for me it takes the best part of an hour. I've tried everything. I assume my antidepressants might play a role, but it was still an ordeal before I was on them. I can never CM if I'm with someone. It's like if someone's around, the orgasm function is disabled. Alone I gotta seduce myself big time. That nobody takes you really seriously if you're in abnormal amounts of pain during your period. I've been steadily getting nastier period cramps over the last year. Cycle is consistent, and for the beginning and end the cramps are kinda typical. But for 2 days in the middle, it's been absolute heck and getting worse. Crippling pain that sends me to my knees and now needs opioids to calm it down. Bigger and more frequent clots, increasingly heavier flow. I call it the heck tide. Saw a doctor requesting a referral to my obgyn. He did a bilateral salpingectomy on me when I was 26, and was waved off with a monitor it and come back in 3 months. Maddening. The fact that far too many people, both who have them and who don't have them, don't know enough about them. Education would solve so many problems. Yes, even just the difference between vulva and vagina. 90% of the time when people say vagina they actually mean vulva, all the outward parts that you can actually see. But if you say vulva you'll probably confuse people. Well, periods obviously, but I guess the tearing snipping of the vaginal tissue in labor is a close second. But not every woman gets pregnant of course, and a few women won't endure this during labor, but most will. I've been stitched it down there for other reasons and the scar tissue is a lifetime B. I'm very scared of actual getting pregnant and giving birth. My mother has permanent continence issues after birthing 3 children. Surprised nobody has mentioned this, by the way. Nothing is worse than having an ear infection. You go to the doc, take some medication and ear feels better. Yay. But wait, vagina be like, is that for me? No, it's not for you. For me? No, it's for me. I'm gonna frick crap up in here. Please don't. TLDR. Ear infection medicine has the common side effect to frick with your vaginal pH balance and cause a yeast infection. Any antibiotic can do that. If it happens frequently for you, talk to your doctor about options. It's much better to be proactive about yeast infections than reactive. 1. Vulvar labia. Sometimes it cramps like a muscle. 2. Urethra. Its shortness makes UTIs frequent. 3. Uterus. Pain. Bleeding. Medical complications. 4. Vagina. The cervix changes during the cycle so it feels different all the time. Oh, and goddamn discharge bleach is my favorite dark colored underpants. Having a vagina is like owning an old car. You're forever pouring money into this thing to keep it in working order. It breaks down on a monthly basis, and something always goes wrong out of nowhere and you're stuck having to shell out even more money. Everyone is saying periods, where I more than agree that the blood, changing pads taps, the actual bleeding part is annoying AF. I think what a lot of men, and some women, don't realize is how actually bad the side effects can be. I have 2 examples. One time in high school, I felt lightheaded so I went to the bathroom. I ended up throwing up and fainted in the bathroom. My friend found me when the teacher asked her to check why I was gone for so long. It was from my period. 2. A friend of mine was at my house, curled over in pain to the point she was telling me she would rather die than feel what she was feeling. I've never seen someone in that much pain before. I called the ambulance, albeit we were like 16. But I was terrified her appendix were exploding or something worse. The pain was from her period. Like cramps, mood swings, etc. are horrible, don't get me wrong. But there are a lot of symptoms that aren't talked about as well. They're such fickle orifices. No scented products, no bubbly baths, or we risk yeast infections. I also didn't know, until a way older age than I'd like to admit, that discharge can stain or bleach your underwear. It's why some women tend to develop little holes in their underwear. Till, I always thought it's due to friction. That babies are getting bigger, but vaginas aren't. Yeah, they dilate, but sometimes 10 centimeters just isn't enough. I had a 9 pound 9 ounces baby. Let me be the first to say ow. My mom had 3 sons, all over 9 pounds. My younger brother was 10 pounds 3 ounces, and he had a giant head. She said our 7.5 pound sister was a walk in the park, even at 35. Having a goddamned period even though my tubes are cauterized. I'm done having children, dang it. The extra depression, fibromyalgia flare up, and the mood swings are bulls. But that's common. The whole let's randomly bleach this cute pair of underwear and make you feel like a filthy troll is aggravating as well. I would love to donate my uterus. Was done with it 16 years ago and have just had to manage the stupid thing ever since. I hate it. Being judged by how it looks. Sorry, mine isn't a perfect pea style looking pea, and it doesn't mean I've slept with 100 guys. Definitely the ability to get pregnant. I'm terrified of pregnancy and childbirth, and it's just this constant looming threat. It's like there's one part of my body that's not under my control and that exists for the sole purpose of sabotaging my life and happiness. I feel the same way. I never want to carry a baby or give birth. I just can't deal with the physical, emotional and fiscal responsibility. I recently had my first yeast infection as a result of a long stretch of antibiotics. When I learned that I needed to start eating yogurt, I thought my mom was fricking with me. Your pee is sick. Eat spoiled milk. It helps. Sometimes being a woman feels like a sick joke. I got my first yeast infection, and so far only, after heavy duty antibiotics at 30. I was visiting my birth mom. We got in contact when I was 22. I had to ask her what to do. It was an interesting bonding experience. Most annoying thing, the fact that society has this stupid perception that women's vaginas are always shaven bare and discharge free. Ladies, having boring underwear is perfectly fine if it makes you feel more comfortable. Discharge is nothing to be ashamed about. At least our reproductive organ can clean itself. Everyone needs to get used to seeing white clear brown stains on our undies because it's freaking normal. PS. The eggy white thing you get is actually something you want when you're trying to conceive. I learned that cotton briefs work best for me. Lot of wasted money spent on sexy ones that turn my vaginal into a swamp. Scented period products. Come on. Scented products like pads or soaps can upset the natural pH levels. Then we are talking infections and rashes. Not to mention that the risk of perfume allergy rises. It is not supposed to smell like flowers or fresh cut grass. It is a vagina, not a rose. SMH. Also sneezing when having your period. Sending a huge wave of blood, some aspergillous blobs, flying at full speed out of you, causing a flood in the panties and a sudden rush to check yourself. To my nose, scented pads smell like nasty old lady perfume and it's not pleasant at all. Also, I have sensitive skin and don't want to have a reaction to it. Wish they would stop preying on women's fears of odor and stop making them, to be honest. Hearing men talk about how horrifying getting their prostate checked is, when you have to go for a medieval torturing every 2 years to check for cancer. Then if it's abnormal, it's every 6 months to a year with a burning off session for added benefit. It's a delicate little thing, especially if you're active in sports. You have to wear breathable underwear. Keep it clean and as sweat moisture free as possible. Be careful washing it as many normal body washes aren't good for your pH level, etc. A penis is out there in the open and easier in my opinion to get it some air and clean, whereas a vagina is all boxed up and needs a little bit more consideration to keep it healthy in a sense. Too bad we can't just lay out starfish style nude and let it get some fresh air and sunshine, lol. Also related to sports, you have to worry about your labia lips popping out in some spandex uniforms like swimsuits, leotards, and running shorts. I see many girls Photoshop their labia lips out of pictures, like Kylie Jenner in any bikini photo, as if we are all Barbies down there and have smooth petite little coin purses. LOL, sorry, but some of those Coachella outfits mine would be chewing on after 5 steps and have a frontal wedgie for sure. When you go to a doctor about literally anything and get it written off as you just being a whiny little bee during before after your period. No, my pain tolerance isn't super low, doc. I'm just in a crap ton of actual pain and I would like to find the cause. If I can give birth to a large child without pain meds, then I'm sure it's not because I've got a low pain tolerance and can't manage my cramps this month. Can you please do any kind of actual testing? Sure, but I'm sure it's nothing. Turns out it's not nothing. Just take our freaking word for it when we tell you something is wrong. Didn't see it on here, but the implication that being tight is a good thing, and that being loose means you're yes. That thing when you've had a bath, you've toweled off and you're all lovely and dry and fluffy and you get into your lovely clean fresh clothes, and then half a tub's worth of water suddenly falls out of your vagina and you need to go and change your pants. Knowing that there are people out there who are completely willing to destroy my life just to get at it, I can deal with the period pains, the discharge, or love it, but what really makes me hate having a vagina is knowing that that one small piece of my anatomy paints a big old target on my back that will never go away. It's always horrified me how many people feel entitled to access to your vagina. Hi, I showed you a shred of common decency or basic human kindness. Drop panties please. Then I get more horrified by how many people don't believe this happens. Right after my period I get really watery discharge that always feel like I just peed my pants. So after wearing pads for an entire week, I need to wear them for another week to catch that nonsense. It's not a lot, but it leaves visible watery stains so I can't just ride it out. Also, shaving, like, hair grows everywhere and you need to pull your lips in every possible way and even go back to your butt. If you guys have an always clean shaved girlfriend, thank her and ask her if she would like to get a wax and pay for it at least once in a while, because getting your kitty waxed hurts even more. Imagine someone gluing a piece of fabric to your balls and then viciously pulling it off. Hurts like heck, and sometimes even catches your inner labia. Oh boy, I hate it. 1. Lightening crotch. Walking down the aisle at the grocery store, and bam, intense shooting pain that nearly brings you to your knees. The first time I experienced this, I was literally afraid to move, and stood in the same position for a good 5 minutes before it felt safe. Spoiler alert, it wasn't, and had another episode as soon as I moved. 2. Periods, and everything that comes along with them. You wear a certain size pants one day, and the next you're so bloated you need to size up. Period clothing is a thing, not just period panties. I won't even go into the bleaching staining underwear bit. Everyone on here has covered that so well already. 3. Grooming. Like, why is it so hard to shave down there? There's so many crevices and ways to slice and dice. And ingrown hairs. Christ on a cracker. Ugh. Thinking about waxing my vagina makes me cringe. 3. I saw someone mention dry tampons. It literally feels like someone is pulling your sandpaper covered soul out of your vaginal canal. How can I bleed so heavily 1 minute and be dry as a bone when it's time to remove the cotton stopper? 4. Cramps. I feel like this has been mentioned countless times, but the first 48 hours for me is the absolute worst. I've been to numerous OBs and explained that they hurt so bad I can't walk or function, and been told that it's normal. Vomiting from period cramps is normal? I think not, my dudes. 5. My cycle is pretty normal, but every so often things like to start early late and it's always at 2:30 in the morning. And it always wakes me up so that I can inevitably sit on the toilet for 30 minutes waiting for that elevator scene from The Shining to start. 6. So, we ladies are blessed with these fricked organs that try to kill us and spontaneously shed every month. And we still get policed by male politicians who have no idea what owning a vagina uterus entails. I'll have no man tell me what I can and can't do with my lady bits. I fought for 2 years to get my tubes tied and had countless male OBs argue that because I had not had children yet, I'd regret it. Finally found an OB, male, who completely agreed with me and said, "You've thought this all through. You have good reasons. And even if you didn't, who am I to tell you what to do with your body?" 2 metal clamps later, I'm safe from crotch goblins, but still have to deal with the monthly rage and chaos that comes with being born with a vagina. When you have a pair of underwear that has a tiny hole in it, and you think, yeah, it'll be fine, and a tiny bit of your labia peeks out. No, just me then? Okie dokie. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.